Hello, my fellow board gamers. Today I bring you a run through of World Exchange. It's brought to us by these guys at the bottom, and we've got the artists and the designers here as well. Check out the overview I brought you guys recently, and this is a 2 to 4 player game, 20 to 40 minutes, which I think is bang on, and this is that lighter complexity. Now, in this game, we are set in El Dorado. There's an incident that happened in 2082, and the world was divided into four notorious oligarchs, and we enact one of them oligarchs. We've got the entrepreneur, the aerospace engineer, so a two-player setup, and every 50 years we buy and sell these cities and resources, and we try and make the most profit during those activities. Now, there's just me as usual, and in terms of the rules, then we've got this propaganda chart, which will be going up and potentially down occasionally. In a two-player game, you can see first player is going to get 500 money at the end, and the most money is the winner, and 0 for second. And as you got your player counts, the amount of money differs for positions. At the end of the 6 months, so you're playing over sort of 12 rounds, should we call them. After the 6th round, you are going to be activating whoever has the most money is going to get one propaganda boost. And at the end of the 12th, there's an ability here where if you've landed on a 400 or 500 cash flow position during your 12 rounds, you're going to get a reduction of 200 money for each time you've done that. So you want to avoid landing on 400 and 500 in this particular game, and there's a host of 6s and 12s to be added for some variety. At the top here we have got the 5 currently available city cards that will come into play, and I'll go through some of them. Each player starts with 3 starting ones, and you've got your player board. Now, I should add, you've got A's and B's, so I've got one closer up here, and you basically got your cash flow on the far left. So you start with 1,300, and once you get your starting cities, you minus these, and that gives you your starting position. So these guys are starting on 600, and these guys are on 400. So there's a host of things from round to round. You're going to be, affecting your cash flows. You buy and sell these cities, hopefully getting these bonuses, and at the end, it kind of reminds you of the end game scoring. Now, once per game, you can buy up to 2 things, and you can sell up to 2 things. So I'll go through how the turn works shortly. And there's a B side as well if you fancy mixing it up as well. And your actual entrepreneurs and your aerospace engineer have a B side as well. So for a bit more going on there. So the aerospace engineer starts off with 1 propaganda, so we start on 1, and they are always the starting player. Entrepreneur will get a +1 of this green symbol here, which is kind of like something you're set collecting, because at the end of the game, the green symbols will be a multiplier for these green symbols here, the green buildings. So you've also got, orange buildings, and you've got these blue ones, and some even have these kind of little diamond shapes, symbols that will set collect for the end as well. So let's kick off then. We've got our marker pen. We are literally going to be buying up to 1 card or 2, one time only, and we tick it off, or we're going to be selling. Now, what sort of decisions are you thinking about? So if you're going to buy a card, this is the market, and at the moment these guys have got 600 credits to play with, and you're in month 1, so maybe they're looking at the cards in hand. Now we can see if we sell, these are our assets. If we sell Roma in year 1, if you can see that one, or round 1, we're going to get 300. So this is the base cost, 200 ever buying or selling. But there's these rounds 1 to 12, and if you activate these in that particular round, you get this bottom price. So you can see if I activate and sell this during round 3 and 6, I'll get 400 rather than the 200. So that is how you are going to profit. So looking at here, if I did decide to buy Mumbai, you can see I have to pay 200. And if I do sell it in 3, 5 or 9, those rounds, I'll get 300 instead. Now, that's not necessarily the biggest profit, but there's the red months. Now, a red month is special because if you sell at a red month, let's just say I sold it, here, you would actually draw a circle in the 4 squares around it and score any bonuses for that month. I'm getting ahead of myself. So what's the aerospace engineer going to do? I think we're actually going to sell Roma, because if we sell it in month 1, we're getting $300. So we add that to the supply for everyone else to potentially purchase. and we draw a line. So we've gained 300 from 600 to 900. So draw a dot on 900. You can see the months are at the bottom there, and just draw a straight line. And we have actually sort of cut across this square that has this sort of blue symbol, and that is a multiplier at the end of the game for any of these blue cards we have in our possession at the end of the game. So a little bit of set collection there. That is literally their go. Now, if they had have ticked the buy option, the sell option here, they could have sold 2 things if they wanted. And literally goes clockwise. So these guys are looking at these and thinking, okay, I could sell San Yuan for 400. So they're going to do that. So they're going to sell that one, and that goes 400 to 800, draw a line. And they've also crossed over one of these yellow symbols. So you're probably looking at this market and thinking, right, there is quite a few yellows out there because it's only going to get additional cards from the deck. So much variety here. If you've ever got 2 or less cards, so potentially if people are buying and selling and it never really gets down to 2 or lower, you're stuck with these cards until round 6. That's when you replenish or discard anything that's out there and replenish 5 more from the top. So we sold. Okay, back to these guys. That's literally round 1, folks. Really quick game. So they're looking at their cash flow. Now, they're not probably going to want to sell something because if you hit the top number of 1,000, you can't go over. So, it's a waste of a profit. So they're probably going to want to buy something, and they could buy 2 things, one time only. And we're trying to maybe get through, this yellow symbol and this green symbol, which means we need to spend 300 to achieve that. And we're in round 2, so we're prepping for round 3 maybe. Maybe we want to buy this one here, because we can see in round 3, we're going to buy it for 300, but sell it for 500 if we decide to do so. We're going to do that. So we'll buy this one. So that's 300 spent. We draw a line down here, and we've now hit 2 of those symbols. So at the end of the game, if we have any, at the moment, 1 symbol of each, so that's a multiplier for each one of those. Probably want to be a bit more specific on what we're set collecting. Now, equally, I'm being mindful that I don't want to land on 400 or 500 due to my cash flows. I'm losing money at the end of the game, and I have to think about propaganda as well. You can see propaganda. If you hit any of these sort of little symbols here, you just immediately go up 1 on here, and obviously we're trying to get ahead of our competitors. So we bought this one, and these cards as well. Some of them will have sort of little bonuses or even negatives. So London, if we own this at the end of the game, will actually give us a reduction in the number of those blue symbols we have for multipliers. What else have we got then? So these guys bought that one. Cash flows changed over to these, and I think they're going to buy as well. But how much do we want to spend? Because, well, if we sell, we're probably not going to sell. It's a shame we can't attain that propaganda. We'd have to sell, well, buy something valued at 400, which there isn't anything valued at 400. Tricky. Unless we bought 2 things and really shot down here. Now, if we're on 800, if we manage to spend 500, we could potentially land on this diamond spot. Now, these are set collection again, so you can see the diamonds on the side. If you have 1 of those at the end of the game, it's 200 extra money end game scoring. Now, if you have up to 5, that's 2,000. So let's kind of give a demonstration. And we're going to buy 2 things. So we're going to tick off this one to show we've done that. And we need to spend 500. So maybe we're going to go for this one. And we'll be heading into round 3. Is there any profits we can make? We'll go for Roma. So 2 green ones. So we've bought those for 500. That takes us bang on to 300. We draw a line down. So not only have we gained a green set collection token, but we've actually landed on one of these sort of white corner areas. Now, if you go through them, that does not count towards your set collection. You have to land on it. So at the moment, we've got 1, so 200. Now, you can also collect those from cities as well. There's none actually out there, but let me just hover in the deck. Some of these cities don't actually have icons on them, but instead have this symbol. So you can see there's no benefit for selling or buying at certain times, but you can set collect those as well, which is quite nice. Ooh, we've got 4 out there. If we get to 2 or low, we'll actually replenish. So these guys have got fairly decent cash flow, and it's month 3. So maybe they want to sell this one as a quick in and out. So if they sell this, but they're going to gain 500, which means that can't go to 1,100. You can top it out at 1,000, and some of these cards give you actually bonus points at the end of the game for hitting 1,000 and then a 0 at the bottom. So fluctuating your cash flow. So It's a shame that maybe we want to buy something and try and land on one of these white symbols as well. We'd only need to spend 200 to do so. And going into round 4, is there anything maybe we want to go for this one? So let's take that one and spread these out. So we've spent 200. We put a tick there. So we've now landed on one of those little white symbols, which is going to get us some points at the end of the game. And we could sell it again in round 4 for 400 bucks. Now you can see this symbol propaganda. That is at the end of the game, which will influence your movement on here. Back over to this player, and they've still got cash to spend. Now, tactically, they could buy something just so there's 2 left, and it brings out up to 5 cards again, so there's more variety in play. Or they might be thinking, oh, I'm happy with this, I'm going to sell just to prevent other players from getting variety. Because, you know, you've hit, say, a lot of green symbols and you've got a lot of green cards in play. Whereas this player, you know, maybe they've got more blue symbols and there's not even that many blue cards out there. So a lot of strategy to think about. Now, we are probably going to want to buy, I'm not sure, what should we go for? Maybe we'll sell something for 300, yeah. So this is month 3. We could, yeah, we're going to sell Roma, month 3, so we actually get to sell it for 300. And the arrows are really nice. You see arrows are buy and sell, and that's your sell price. So we're going to sell that in month 3 for 300 bucks. So that's going on 300 to 600, and we have hit another blue symbol. Great. We've currently got an asset. So you can see how these assets fluctuate, and it's only at the end of the game the assets in play or the cities will be the multipliers. So you might decide, right, I'll buy and sell this, or do I want to keep it because maybe my opponents are trying to sneak them as well, and if the cards aren't coming out because the reduction in the market isn't low, you might have collected loads of symbols but not actually have the cities to multiply. Okay, let's do one more round, and then I'll sort of give a demonstration of what happens at round 6. So we're heading into round 4. Have they got anything that can happen? They could sell this one. Yeah, we're going to sell that one because we don't want to end up with less propaganda at the end. And in doing so, we've gained 400. So that's 400 to 800, and we've gained a blue symbol. Okay, so if these guys sell, they could potentially get a propaganda because they're behind on the race at the moment. So to do that, they're going to have to sell. Is there anything they could sell in round 4? Yeah, they could sell this one. That's quite nice. So we're going to sell Paris for 500. So they go from 600. Oh, we want to buy something, actually. I'm going the wrong way. All right, let's buy something for 200. We'll buy Roma again. Which is great, actually, because we can buy it in round 4 and then sell it in round 5 for a profit again. So we've spent 200 on that. So we're actually going down, and we've hit immediately a propaganda, so we can go at 1. Okay, so when you do, when all players have finished round 6, you look at this card. Whoever has the most cash flow, so at the moment, you know, these guys are on 800, these guys are on 400, these guys are getting extra propaganda. Boom. That's how to play. You carry on till the end, and let's kind of give you a demo of end game scoring then. So you flip over this, which is a bit frustrating because that's kind of the propaganda chart, but let's just assume, you know, these guys were competing like that. So we flip this one over, and you can see, let me make some space, you're going to score money. So at the moment, let's call this player 1 and 2. These guys, obviously a bit at the end of round 12, but let's say they've got 800. These guys have got 400. So the multipliers of cities then. So you look how many icons you have got of those sort of little orange symbols. They've got 1. So that's 1 for them. And how many yellow icons have they got for cities? They've got 2. So it would literally be 2 times the 1. And obviously that one's worth 100. So that's 200 bucks. So we'd write 200 in there. And then the other player does those. So let's say they're yellows. They got 1 yellow, but they got no yellows, so that'd be worth 0. Greens, these guys do have a green, and they got 1, 2 symbols. So 2 times the 1, 200 for that. These guys have 1 green, plus they had a green from their entrepreneur. So 2 green symbols times the 3 cities would be 600. Now, you do have to be mindful that some cities, for example, London, gives you a reduction on blue. There's actually an extra orange symbol there for them guys, but they haven't got any orange buildings, so you're kind of having a real think about what you're trying to collect. And you do the same again for blues. Now, at the end, obviously, you get your cash flow for based on Wait, oh, mistake actually. The first one is the value of the city, so I've got it muddled up. So this one here, the 12, is your cash flow, so that would have been 800 and 400. The first one is actually the value of your city, so you got 300, 500, plus that is 800 in total, which is bang on 800 anyway. And these guys would have had 400, 300, so that's 700, 1,000, 1,200 that would have been. Let's cross that off. So the first one is actually your city values. So the more assets and cities you have at the end, the better chance you're winning of being an oligarch. So the next one then is the set collection of those white symbols. So at the moment, these guys have got 1. They haven't got any cities with them, so they're only getting 200. These guys, what have we got? They've just got the 1 as well, 200. You then score this card, number 12. So at the moment, has anyone landed on 400 or 500? They've landed on it once, so they're getting a reduction of 200. And these guys have actually landed on it twice, so they're losing 400. Then you score your propaganda. So as we say, red players are getting 500 in a 2-player game. So there's 500. They're getting 0. Add up all your scores and see who is the winner. And that is it, folks. And as I said, there's a lot of variety. You've got the Bs on the other side here for your players. So, you know, a little bit of variety there. And the B sides on the other board as well. And there's a host of cards, loads of different cities. Bring nice flavour. There we are, folks. World Exchanges. Enjoy.